Greetings from Thompson Bowling Arena. We finally got Rob Lewis back for the full court press. Tennessee beats Texas A&M 90-80, and talk about an offensive explosion, Rob Lewis.
I mean, especially for this team. I mean, they hadn't even scored 80 in an SEC game. We're coming off a game against Texas where they scored 51. They almost got that by halftime. And Texas A&M is a good defensive team. I mean, they're not Texas level, but I mean, they're not bad. They had not given up more than 81 points in a game this year before tonight. And Tennessee, I mean, it was easy from the start.
Yes, and I thought the same thing Rick Barnes did. He said post-game he thought it would be in the 60s. I thought Tennessee would win.
All their games are going to be in the 60s.
Yes, exactly, especially after you watch some of the games that we have this year, the Texas Tech game, Texas on Saturday. But everybody chipped in, just about everybody that played. I think the only guy that you could maybe put an asterisk next to is Brandon Huntley-Hatfield. But aside from BHH, everybody contributed in a positive way.
Yeah, totally. I mean, you had 5 guys in double figures. I mean, Jamon Mashak didn't play a lot, but he came in and made a couple of defensive plays. Victor Bailey made a couple plays. When he got some minutes, Justin Powell made 2 huge threes back-to-back in the middle of that 14-2 run when Tennessee really took control of the game. It was 60-59. You're thinking, oh no, they're going to choke, and then boom, they go off and score 30 points in the last 8 minutes and 29 seconds. That's more they scored in either half at Texas.
Yeah, and I thought a big reason there was an offensive explosion is because of Olivier Camwa. The team just looks different when he is contributing the way that he did tonight. We'll see if he can be consistent with it, but it seems like tonight was a big building block.
I would completely agree. Him and Josiah were Tennessee's 2 lead. Well, Kennedy came on late, ended up with 16, hit some foul shots. But prior to that, for most of the game, it was Josiah and Olivier that were Tennessee's leading scorers. And when they jump up and help carry the load, I mean, I think it's a totally different basketball team. And Josiah was on his way to a huge night.
Yep, till he got in foul trouble.
He had 8 points in the first 4 minutes and then sat the last 11-20 of the first half and still ended up, I mean, he had a great game, 14 points, 8 rebounds, 5 steals. But yeah, I couldn't agree with you more about Olivia. First time he's been in double digits since January 5th against Ole Miss. I mean, that's a long time ago.
Yes, and we'll see if he can be consistent. One game, again, we'll see if he can be consistent, but the defense maybe not the best tonight at times. At times it was, but I also thought turnovers on offense at times put them in bad spots.
I mean, Tennessee scored 90 points in a game where they committed 17 turnovers. I mean, you're looking at a 100-point night if they just have 11 like they did at Texas. But yeah, I would, if you had told me before the game that Texas A&M was to score 80 points and shoot 47% from the field,
I would have told you Tennessee lost.
I was like, man, Tennessee's getting ready to take a bad home loss.
Yes,
but they won a game with offense, which quite frankly is something that I don't know that we've seen them do this year.
Yes, and the other thing worth touching on is Tennessee winning the rebounding battle. A&M doesn't do much at all well offensively. They don't do anything well offensively except rebound the basketball on the offensive glass, and they somewhat contained that. But the rebounding battle in total, Tennessee won tonight, and we watched A&M come in here 2-3 years ago and just dominate Tennessee on the boards.
I remember that. So, and Olivier had a nice night. Olivier had 7 boards. I thought he was really physical. I thought he set the tone. Fulgerson didn't do a lot, but he did get 5 rebounds, and he was active in there. And then, like I just touched on, Josiah, 8 rebounds, and I think he just played 21 minutes. That's pretty stout.
Yep, and A&M, average team overall, but they do have a really good defense, like Rob mentioned earlier. So I do think there's something to be said for Tennessee putting up 90 points tonight and 4 straight SEC wins.
4 straight SEC wins.
They go to South Carolina on Saturday.
Very winnable to get to 5.
That should be 5, and it seems like Tennessee is moving in the right direction. And I guess the next step would be, can they knock off one of these perceived big-time teams in the SEC?
And, all the toughest road stretches behind them. I mean, they're not going. They've already been to LSU. They've already been to Kentucky. They've already been to Alabama. I mean, I don't think Tennessee's going to catch Kentucky or Auburn, but I think they can. There's a clear pathway for them to establish themselves as the 3rd best team in the league.
I'd be surprised at this point if they don't finish in the top 4.
I would, yeah, same. Yep. We see what as we're taping this, LSU's getting hammered at home
by Ole Miss.
Alabama is getting ready to go 4-5 in the league. It looks like Auburn has control of that one. So you're looking at Arkansas, Tennessee, pretty clearly, and then Texas A&M was in there at 4-4. They're now 4-5. I got to think South Carolina's a paper tiger at 4-4. You can't convince me that's a good team.
No.
And I think Tennessee and Arkansas are going to be fighting it out for those 3rd and 4th place seeds.
Completely agree. He's Rob Lewis. I'm Ben McKee. Tennessee beats Texas A&M 90-80 here on Tuesday night at Thompson Bowling Arena.